peanut tofu with a cauliflower fried rice. What a treat. Now, as someone who knows they have something of a peanut butter problem, I could not ask for a better way to satisfy this craving. Here in the US, we have tons of uses for peanut butter. Peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter cups, peanut butter cereal, cookies, nutter butters, all that good stuff. All that sweet stuff. But look me in the eyes and tell me you know of one traditional American recipe that uses peanut butter as a savory addition. But hey, fear not, for we need look no further than to the Orient to find what we're looking for. When I found out years ago that so much Southeast Asian cuisine used peanut butter in a savory way, you better believe I was all about it. Now, this recipe will be a little bit more of a time investment. We're going to need at least a couple of hours to properly press our tofu to get all that excess water out of there. And if we have the extra time, if we can prepare our cauliflower, get it to that rice size, put it in the fridge overnight, and let it dry out a little bit more, it will fry that much better when the time comes. But guys, if you have been looking for a new exciting way to try tofu, as well as something that's a good mix of savory and sweet, this is the recipe for you. Let's give it a shot. There are several ways we can prepare our cauliflower for the cauliflower rice. You could use a food processor, you could do it all with a knife. Today I'm going to be using this nice standing grater. First thing I'm going to do though is trim off the greens, cut off the excess stem, and then give myself 5 or 10 minutes to grind this whole thing down. So let's start with removing the greens. Now that we have most of them off, we're going to chop the stem. We have our greens all removed, just our solid head of cauliflower. Now we could chop out this stem piece, but ultimately because of the way we're going to grind this against the grater, we really don't need to. And it actually might help to have something else to grip in there. Using the coarse grate I have on this standing grater, we're going to just get to work. Now, of course, watch your fingers. It will hurt adding a bit of yourself to this meal. Cauliflower is like nature's Parmesan. Said no one ever. Now I know what you're thinking. Man, that is making a huge mess everywhere. Yes. Yes, it is. I will have to sweep afterwards. So right here I'm going to break, take what I have and put it in a large bowl, and then keep going. Allons-y. This will give you plenty of cauliflower rice. If it feels like it's getting too difficult to hold the husk of what's left, let it go. Totally fine. You really don't need the entire head. And I think that will do it. Man, I bet I was laying down some serious cauliflower wisdom there. Something sage. Something timely. All the more tragic that my mic wasn't recording. That may be something of a recurring theme on this episode, but rest assured I have a general idea of what I was saying. With our cauliflower rice now ready, I'm going to throw it in the fridge overnight. This is not required, it's completely optional. The cauliflower rice is pretty much ready to go as is, but if you have the extra time and you can let it chill overnight, let it dry out a bit more, it will provide a better fry. Bienvenido a mañana. My cauliflower rice has been chilling in the fridge overnight. Now that it's tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and do our next long step and press our tofu. Now I have some hard tofu here that I'm going to press for about 2 hours, again, to drain out that excess moisture. If you have softer tofu, it probably won't need that long. And if you can find extra firm tofu, it might need a little bit longer. Either way, we want to go for at least an hour. The amount of weight you put on top will vary depending on the firmness of the tofu. So I have my block of tofu here. I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to be sure it's somewhat centered so that when I put my second plate on top, it is balanced. And I'm going to use a Tupperware of water to add a little extra pressure. Let's be sure it seems like it's good. Not going to fall. Beautiful, seems great. Now, all we need to do is set a timer for a couple hours and wait. Now let's go ahead and get our oven going to 400 degrees. It's been those nice 2 hours. Let's get this water out of the way. Remove this plate. Unfurl this now very damp towel. There we go. Nice and pressed, still nice and firm. Throw that on our cutting board. And now we are ready to cut. We want anywhere from, half an inch to an inch size pieces. We're going to ultimately roast these in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 400 degrees to get them nice and crispy. This way we don't have to fry them, we don't have to coat them in any kind of flour to get that nice crispier texture. Now you could do this in more rectangular shapes than cubes. You probably just want to flip those longer pieces halfway through the oven time. So if I were to just throw this in the oven as is, I would absolutely want to give that a toss. Beautiful. I have a parchment paper lined baking sheet. I'm going to just throw these right on top. Be sure to make it in a single layer so that everything gets the same amount of heat. You don't really need to flip these. Just be sure everything is not bunched up. Try to get those pieces nice and separate. And if for any reason some pieces seem to be way bigger than others, thicker than others, take one, give it a nice slice, and boom. And just for good measure, I'm going to sprinkle these with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Not too much. The real flavor is going to be in the peanut sauce. All right, tofu is ready to go in the oven. Again, we're only going to go for 20 to 25 minutes. I would say around 20 minutes. Just give it a look, see how it feels, take a little fork to it, see how crispy we're going. And if it needs more time, give it the extra 5. Here we go. We'll get our peanut sauce going. Let's start with half a cup of peanut butter, a 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce, a teaspoon of roasted sesame seed oil, a teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. If you like it spicy, go ahead and add half a teaspoon to maybe even 2 teaspoons of Sriracha. We will also go ahead and add in just about a 1/4 cup of water or a little less depending on how thick you want it. Last but not least, I'm actually going to take some of these shaved almonds just to give it a little extra crunch. Just a man pinch. If we tried to mix it now as it is, it's just not going to work very well. This is very thick. To alleviate that, we're actually going to use a double boiler to heat everything up without cooking it. So I have my pan here. I'm going to go ahead and get that boiling. Once I get it to a boil, I will lower it to let it simmer. I will place my bowl carefully on top and very, very, very carefully mix. Okay, looks like we've reached our boil. Let's shift that down to about medium heat. Put our bowl on top. I'm going to use a towel to carefully grab the edge of the bowl. And while that swims in the hot water, continue to stir. Now again, the idea of a double boiler is a way of applying indirect heat so that we're really not cooking anything in the bowl, the peanut butter, the hoisin sauce. Now I do feel like this is still a little bit too thick, so let me go ahead and add another 1/8 cup of water. Look at that smooth consistency, not too sticky, so everything will get nice and coated when the time comes. This is perfect. All right, peanut sauce looks good. Let's go ahead and prep the cauliflower rice, get everything else together. Hey, this feels stupidly familiar. Don't let my goofy mannerisms fool you. I'm just mentioning that while I'm going to cook all of my rice at once, if you don't own a large wok, you can do it in batches. We're also going to use just enough canola oil to coat the bottom of our wok to get a good swill going over medium-high heat. Once it seems heated, we'll throw in our aromatics. I've got a few cloves of garlic and an inch of ginger root, both minced. Let's go ahead and throw those in there. Get them nice and sizzling. We'll be sure to stir them around, keep them moving, only about 30 seconds, but keep them moving even at medium heat, they will start to burn. We'll toss in 2 ounces of carrots. Same deal, keep it moving. Ultimately, this will all be cooking for about a minute, I would say. And then all of our rice, all of it just in there. Good to go. Start mixing, start folding, get the aromatics and the carrots from the bottom to the top. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. As always, add less than you think you need. Add more to adjust to taste. You cannot do it the other way around. If you happen to have any, go ahead and add a couple dashes of fish sauce, a little squirt of Sriracha, about a teaspoon of toasted sesame seed oil, and then to top this off, I have got some Thai basil that I've cut into ribbons. Totally optional, but because we have kind of a peanut curry thing going, I figured making this more of a Thai fried rice might be a nice little treat. And then just some sliced green onion. Now you could add other veggies to this if you wanted to. I'd recommend maybe some red bell pepper, maybe some red onion, a little bit of bok choy if you cut it very nice and fine. Plenty of options. Watercress. I thought about watercress, didn't do it, but now I'm kind of regretting it. That is good to go. Right now I'm going to take our finished tofu, put it into our cauliflower bowl, get some of our peanut sauce, and just give it a few dollops. And let's give that a nice mix. Try to get as much of it coated as we can. We are ready to plate. I will take a nice helping of my cauliflower fried rice, top that off with some of my peanut tofu. Completely optional, but I'm going to shake on a few sesame seeds. And then just a very light pass of Sriracha. Okay, peanut tofu, cauliflower fried rice. Let's give it a shot. Oh my gosh. The cauliflower holds flavors so much better than rice. I couldn't tell you why. I love to make this recipe. This is a great low-calorie version of a typical peanut curry fried rice. Cauliflower is way less caloric than regular rice. The flavor, though, I promise you, you won't miss it. All right, everybody, that's it. Peanut tofu with a cauliflower fried rice a la Café Gabe. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I have new recipes coming out every week. If you tried this and gave it a shot, liked it, leave a like on the video. And if you did anything different, have any suggestions for me, any questions for me, leave a comment. I would love to hear it. Everyone, as always, thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. Be well, stay safe. Adios.